How much fun
Hi,
is it?
hi
Hey.
everyone. Welcome to the Back to Mama Genius podcast. And I'm tongue tied today already, but you know what? We're just gonna have fun with it. And I got Sherisse here, and we've already been laughing our heads off as we were talking before this all got started. So I'm just gonna go ahead and introduce her. Sherisse Marie is over 30 years of working with small businesses and entrepreneurs, helping them build business systems that work and create lasting legacies. She's passionate about two things: helping others succeed and having fun doing it, which is why we were laughing so much. Her philosophy is for creating any business includes living your best heart-centered life, grounded and fulfilled life. Because who the heck wants to recreate a job? I know I don't. That's why I'm working with her. For themselves if they don't have to. For mom and pop business to multi-million investments, groups to online entrepreneurs, big and small, she's worked them all. And she's here to tell us all about. She's got savvy and technical, know how to get your business up, running, and profitable fast. Her no holds bar approaches to fussy psychology, software, and designs a sale juggernaut for her clients. I love it. Welcome, Sherisse, to the podcast.
I'm so excited to have you. To be here. Yay. I love watching this happen in real time. It's awesome. So yay. Congratulations on the podcast.
It is to like be like live versus like let's record it and edit everything, right? You got that different vibe to it. And I just go, let's just go for it. And we were talking about that right before we got in, and we're like, I'm like, are you okay with the question stuff? She's like, let's just go for it. I'm like, that's the philosophy, right? And that's why she's here to tell us about business, because sometimes we just need to go for it. So tell us a little bit about give us a little bit more about your background and your why, and why you like helping businesses so much.
Oh gosh. Okay. So I actually started out in commercial real estate. So I have a lot of background there. I dealt with a lot of investors. I dealt with a lot of small business owners. I dealt with a lot of entrepreneurial spirit people. Even going further back, I mean, my dad was an entrepreneur. We owned businesses my whole life. So I really have that background, that passion for helping small business owners to maximize their profit and minimize their risk exposure, which is, kind of fun. And that's what we all want as business owners, is let's make this as easy and foolproof as possible. Back in 2016, 2017, I actually, my career fell off a cliff because I developed something called Meniere's disease, which is horrible vertigo attacks. I always feel like I have bed spins, like all the time. When you're drunk and you're like bed spins really bad.
Yes, I hate those.
Every day, all the time. And the vertigo attacks occasionally are like crippling to the nth degree. And there is no cure. There is nothing that they can do for you. Modern medicine has very, very little in the way of knowledge about this because there's not that many people that have it. It's mostly a women's disease. And as we all know, women do not get studied. So hello, the few men that there are that have this, we're all whatevers. And for the most part, even though it impacts every part of your life, you're just basically told to suck it up and learn to work around it with your life. Like there are no supports. It's not one of the things that a disability insurance program will cover you for. I paid into disability insurance for 30 years and was told, no, you just need to go find a different career path because you're not disabled enough. Yes. Can you believe that? Like, seriously, at that point, I still wasn't even able to get out of bed to go have a shower. My 10-year-old, the first day this ever happened to me, I had just gotten divorced a couple of months before, and my 10-year-old son had to carry me to the bathroom in the morning so that I could go to the bathroom. And, that 40-something-year-old bladder needed to go right now. And I could not even like crawl my way to the toilet. I could not function enough because my head was so bad. I've since found, so anybody else who's suffering with this, the John of Ohio protocol is, go look it up on the internet. It's like 30 herbs and vitamins and things. It will lacerate your kidneys and your bladder because of the high doses of some of this. It will leave you upright and functional for the most part, and you'll just have the bed spins still, but you won't be like horribly vertigo-y and unable to function. So yeah, that was my story. I spent about almost a year in bed before I finally found this and started trying it. And lo and behold, it gave me most of my life back. Now I still have triggers that can cause severe things. So fluorescent lights, absolute no-nos, which means I can never work in an office again. And grocery stores and malls and things, not so good for me. I go in, I come back out. I used to love shopping. No more. Now I'm like, no,
Well, it's a good thing for delivery nowadays.
absolutely. I'm like, no, I think we'll just like put the sunglasses on and pray real hard that I don't, have an attack from it. And then light through windows bothers me as well. So I live like a vampire now. I live in a house with controlled lights. I have 3 layers of curtains on all the windows, and I'm very, very careful, which is why I look like a vampire right now. I have that beautiful glow. It's because I don't spend a lot of time out in the real world anymore. Mostly housebound, which is fine. It is what it is. So I would rather that than bedbound, because that really sucked. That year was awful. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Anyways, long story short, I ended up
I'm just like mouth dropped.
realizing that I needed to do something because I'd been turned down for disability. My savings wasn't going to last forever. I was in my 40s, so I had a little bit saved up for retirement, but I was hoping to use that for retirement.
Right.
So I was kind of casting around for what I could do out of the house. And at that point, there still wasn't a lot of work from home jobs. So I kind of fell into the coaching online space and started out as a Reiki energy healer. And I had a little Reiki thing in my I had a little home office. So I set that up as a Reiki treatment center. I was doing some life coaching. I wasn't terribly successful. I had my first ever thing that I invested in my business was actually I spent $10,000 for a program called 10K in 30 days. I shouldn't say the name of it. Anyways, spoiler alert, did not get me 10K in 30 days. And it did give me a really good basis for how to create a program, but it wasn't quite enough for anybody who was really like starting from zero where I was. So it really, pushed me to learn more and more and more. So I kept going with it. I kept trying to get things happening. I kept learning. I did a whole bunch more programs and classes and things like that. And within, I would say 6 months or so, what I found was I was doing off the corner of my desk, the bulk of my money was actually coming in from helping other entrepreneurs with their businesses, either doing their technical work for them, like building funnels, building websites, that kind of stuff, setting up email automation sequences, or teaching them how to do their business, like from soup to nuts, because I knew so much, or a little bit of both. And then I ended up doing something similar for Influencersoft, and then worked my way up, and now I'm the COO in charge of the whole darn caboodle. So here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. So now in there, I do most of their coaching, most of their technical trainings. I manage the team, and I do a whole bunch of other things. The thing that I like the most, though, is actually, and you're in the program, so thank you for that. It's our Business First Class program, which is a mentoring program, weekly calls that we are, I work on giving you guys the skills that I wish I had had at the beginning of my journey all those years ago. Like, God, that's like 7 years ago now, something like that, that I wish I'd had at the beginning of my journey that would actually move the needle for you, right? And the skills, generally speaking, are follow your passion, follow what other people are trying to push you into, whether you want it or not. That's where the money is, right?
We had that conversation yesterday.
And Michelle's making faces because she's just it's crystallizing with this the podcast, which is fantastic. And then the third key is actually to kind of allow, right? Because as entrepreneurs, and I'm going to get a little esoteric here, as entrepreneurs, as humans in this meat suit here, we are programmed to push and to be the catalyst for things. But sometimes
Yes.
the things need to be the catalyst for us, not the other way around, which is mind trippy, but really freeing once you allow it to happen.
Well, I love that so much. And I think also, because I've been saying this on the podcast, there's really two ways to get all those thoughts out of your head. And one of them is to talk it out loud, and one of them is to write it down. And so you kind of make us do a little bit of both, but it's having that safe space and having then that knowledgeable information inside the group that you guys can bounce each other's off. And that's why I really do recommend masterminds in general, because you want to be around more ideas, bring out those from you, because like you were saying, a lot of this is blocked in us, and we have to release those layers of the shoulds of what we think we're supposed to be doing. And we were just having this conversation right before we got in here, like I had a breakthrough yesterday, and it's really because of these conversations and doing these things that the breakthroughs come out. And so I do want to take it back a step. And so people who are, especially moms out there, because I know there's going to be a lot of moms listening to this, they're like, I have this idea, I just keep suppressing it because nothing's ever going to happen from it. Where do they start with this idea?
Oh, where do they start with the idea? So I have a framework, and it is, it's kind of revolutionary. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it is probably the easiest way to actually get started if you want to really get started and come out of the gate strong. The first thing is kind of figure out who you want to talk to and a general idea of what your problem is that you want to solve. You have to solve a problem, right? You can't just be like, I want to help you with your purpose. Sorry, you can't do that. It's not going to
He's
go
not mocking me at all.
not talking to you at all. You can't be like, I just want people to feel empowered. People aren't going to pay you for that. They're just not. They want to solve a bleeding neck problem. And the bleeding neck problems are generally going to be in health, wealth, or relationships. Those are the things that people will pay for: health, wealth, and relationships. And it has to be an actual problem that they perceive as bad enough that they're willing to get help for it, right? And it needs to be something that the medical establishment either can't or won't fix. So those are your criteria for that. So go find a bunch of people that are potentially the kind of people that you want to be talking to. Ask them what their problems are around the topic that you're kind of thinking about. See if you can narrow it down to one or two things. Generally, if you peel the onion enough times, I love the metaphor of peeling the onion for so many things, but generally, if you peel the onion enough times, you'll figure out what the core problem is that gives everybody that light bulb that they go, oh my God, are you in my head? How are you in my head? How do you know that that's actually the thing that it's keeping me up at night? Because I didn't even say those words to you, but you know it. You must be magic. You know what? I'm going to give you money and let you help me, because the universe is giving you to me as a gift. And you're like, thank you. It's really just that I talked to enough people.
Well, I love that you use the onion, because I'm also thinking of how much crying happens in that, because there's the crying on both ends from the person who needs the help and the person who's like, how do I get this idea out of my head? And how do I get people, like the match of the two?
Absolutely. Okay, so once you've done that, then you can figure out what the process needs to be to actually solve that problem, right? Generally speaking, you want to use those first people that you talked to as your guinea pigs a little bit and have them work through it with you to the end result that you're looking for. And then you can systematize that, systematize that as you go through And then you've got a program that actually helps people, that changes lives, that solves an actual problem, and that gets things going. Now, the big secret, the thing that nobody talks about that is really, really important, especially when you're new, is your biggest source of revenue, especially at the beginning, is word of mouth. It is that ability to have 100 raving fans, 100 people that cannot shut up about you. Think back. I want everybody in the audience to think back to the last thing or the last person that you worked with in some way, or the last product that you bought or whatever, that lit you up so much that you could not physically stop talking about it to people. That you were just like, yippee, 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 to the point where people were like, can you just please stop talking about the thing because I don't care about the thing? Like, shush already.
It's like when you have that new baby and everyone's tired of it.
Right? That is who you need to be to your ideal clients. So whatever you need to do to make that happen is what you need to do. And the best way to do that is help 100 people for free, for low dollar amounts. Help them. The more people you can help for no money or for low money, or for, even if you're like slowly raising your prices as you go through those, the first 10 should be absolutely free, because you don't know what you're doing yet. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what your process is. The first 10 should be free, because you need them to be giving you an incredible amount of data. You need to be getting as much feedback from them as possible. Now, what you want to do, instead of completely free, you want to be simply saying, okay, you know what? I want to gift this to you, but if you get results, can you please give me a referral to at least 2 people? I don't need you to do anything more than just like talk me up a little bit and do me an introduction. I'll take it from there. And
I just want to add one thing to that, is also have some feedback forms ready for them throughout the process, because you want them to be able to help you go through, or were you already going through that? I don't know. But the feedback forms I found so helpful in structuring things and redefining things that I've been doing it, is really making sure you have those set up ahead of time, even if you're just asking them a couple questions. But having that as part of the program for free is, I just need your feedback and referrals.
That's the way to position it, right? You're looking for referrals and you're looking for feedback. You're not just looking for feedback. What you're actually looking for, quite honestly, is marketing materials. You are looking for the exact language that your ideal client uses in the way that they talk about their problems and their dream outcome, and the journey from problem to dream outcome, right? So that little journey, what does that look like for them? Because you can talk about it till the cows come home, but if you're using the wrong words, you'll never get conversions. You will never make sales, because they don't get it. That's not connecting with them emotionally. And I think I said this before, your entire goal in all of your marketing, in all of your communication with people, is to have them thinking that you're magical in some way, because you understand exactly the words that they're thinking in their head before they're thinking it, and you are verbalizing it to them as they're thinking it. That feels magical for people. It makes them feel seen. It makes them feel heard. It makes them feel amazing. And the more amazing they feel, the more likely they are to give you those referrals. Not just 2, but they'll talk to their entire network of people, hundreds of people potentially, at least tens of people. And they'll be like, oh my God, Michelle was the most amazing. You have to work with her. You have to. I'm telling you right now, you have this problem too. I know, because you and I have talked about it. You need her. Oh my God, I no longer have a problem. It's amazing. I didn't think I was ever going to not have this problem, and here I am without the problem. It was like a miracle. That's what you want from every single one of your clients all the time. That's how you build an actual business.
Now, I do want to preface though, as we're going through this, and even being in the course as well, or in the mastermind here, is it sometimes we have that saying like, yes, I know this is what I need to do. And so the practicality of actually like going through and working out the details and the wording and stuff is where the mastermind comes into play, because it makes perfect sense when Cherie goes through all the like problem and having that, but then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, what is my problem? What are the solutions? And then working through and having those conversations is where the coaching, the mastermind, and all that comes into play. Because again, we're just like our clients. We get stuck in our head. We're just on a different problem than our clients are. That we've already overcome that problem, but we haven't overcome this problem. And so we need the coaching on that realm, which yes.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to be in, if you're in any kind of business, I don't care what level you're at, you need someone that you can bounce ideas off of. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a paid program. It could just be a group of fellow entrepreneurs, and a bunch of you are working through it at the same time. That's perfectly acceptable. Now, keep in mind that if they don't know any more than you may be walking blind a little bit, right? I mean, you're all going to have different things that you're good at, but if all of you suck, no offense, but if all of you are in that suck phase, we all start there. That's just the nature of the beast, right? If you're all in that suck phase and not one of you is kind of that elevated a little bit and able to make sales and do the things, then you're all going to keep sucking. You're going to kind of like be sitting around in a little circle and whining about how you don't have any money and you don't have any of this and you don't have any of that. I tried that too, by the way. That also sucked. So
well, I found, for me at least, when I did create a group of 3, and it was more that we again, we're all in different coaching programs, so it's like bringing like the minds together, and then it's like almost like the co-working sessions where you're like producing and making sure and keeping each other accountable for each other. And so it's finding that balance that just works for you. But again, this entrepreneur route is such a rabbit hole that you can go squirrel, 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 shiny object over here, shiny object over there, and like
absolutely.
And we get in our own heads. And so like I'll come to yesterday, like, here we go. She's like, okay, slow down. Like, let's break it down. Let's go through this. And I think that's what this is all about, is just find that place for you that works. Again, whatever the problem or whatever you're struggling with at this moment, it's find that correct group that works for you. And so for like, as I'm reaching out for connecting moms, the ones that want to have more connection, more things, and figure out how to do that, they come see me. Those who are already on the entrepreneur route, again, I'm probably in the suck phase a little bit more. So then Cherie would be the better solution for that at this moment in time, but I'm working on it.
You're doing good. Yeah. And I will say, as a mom, the journey can be harder, right? If you want to work from home, you know, a lot of times your spouse is like, well, you work from home, so just keep the kids home with you. And you're like, then I'll never get anything done. Like, that's not a thing, right? I can't just clock I mean, unless they're teenagers, in which case they don't want to see you anyways. They're like, I won't come to you unless one of us is bleeding. but otherwise they can't let you, you know, do the work that you need to do. You can't be on Zoom calls and be professional when you've got a 2-year-old screaming at your feet because, you know, their brother hit them with a toy, or because they needed their diaper change, or because they're hungry, or they needed a nap an hour ago and they wouldn't go down, or they're bored, or whatever it is, right? That's not a good way to manage yourself when you've got a business. So the biggest secret for that is finding ways to pawn your kids off on other people. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely finding ways to work your work schedule around the other people in your world, right? It does take a village. So asking a parent or a sibling or a family member or a friend, you know, would you mind twice a week looking after Junior for 3 hours so that I can like focus on this business that I'm trying to get launched. Or even asking your partner, like, you know, can I on Monday and Thursday nights close my office door and have you take the kids out for pizza and a movie, or to Chuck E. Cheese's or wherever, like to a play center, so that I can actually focus for like 3 or 4 hours, and really kind of carving time out, even during the day. You know, the kids are napping. Ordinarily, when you got little kids, you're doing laundry, you're napping, you're like, oh my God, I get to have a shower this week. Yay! Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. But it's important, right? If you can afford it, putting them in daycare or preschool or whatever that may be, even if it's just a couple hours a day, or babysitter.
I love how you said it is working around their schedule. And the one thing though is, if you are a mom though, and you are working with mom clients, there is that camaraderie where, like, I've been in that situation where, like, if the kid walks in, it's not like this huge deal. If that's your clientele, if it's different clientele, then it depends though. So that's something to think about when you're thinking about your niche. Again, the people that you want to offer this to, but that there is some kind of camaraderie when it is mom to mom. And that is something to think about, that we're all just trying to lift each other up.
I will say yes, but also if they're paying you, they want you to be professional. They want you to pretend that you don't have kids in the building that you're in, unless they're in a daycare and there's a solid wall between you and them.
No, I agree. I just say if something happens and there's like exceptions to it, that's something just to consider.
There's always exceptions, yes. Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, you do want to be as much as possible siloed off, so that you are giving off the impression that you are a professional in your industry, that you are trustworthy, and that the client is your main focus. Because when you're with your client, they should be your main focus, if at all possible.
So before we get into our 5 questions, there was actually 2 reasons why I had you on here. Well, first was because we talked about the mentoring program a little bit. But secondly was, this is all part of Influencer Soft as well, which is, you can do the mentoring program without Influencer Soft, but Influencer Soft is a structure for which I've been using for my sending my emails out and things like that. So if you want to talk a little bit to that as well.
Absolutely. So Influencer Soft is an all-in-one. We do websites and funnels and products and courses, and we have an affiliate cabinet and the ability to send emails out. So we kind of do everything for a newbie business all in one umbrella, which is really nice. You don't have to think about it too hard. And it can be very smooth to use that. It's a little nicer than, jerry-rigging things together and having to figure out how to use Zapier or Pabbly or something like that to make all the pieces work. If you can simply say funnel, emails, website, courses, affiliate program, all in one place, it's so much easier on your brain, right? And then we also have support. We have coaching programs. We have the mentoring program that's once a week. We have technical calls once a month so people can get their answers. We have support. It's kind of a nice community of kind of newbie entrepreneurs. So,
well, yeah, they also have like why am I forgetting the chat? Name of the app.
Oh,
WhatsApp. They have like a WhatsApp chat, and then there's also a whole learning academy where you can go through different videos as well to start to learn. And it is a little bit of a learning curve, and I will admit, in terms of learning the software. But again, it's just reaching out and getting the questions answered and things as along the way. And for me, a lot of it was just like, I don't know my wording yet, and so that's what when I bring those problems to the coaching calls. My technical calls, I'll bring to the technical calls, and like vice versa. But it's got those options in there if you want to dive deep into getting them started.
I will say our software is easier to use than a lot of our competition. Not naming any names, but some of them out there. There's one that's really marketing themselves quite hard as the software for agencies. Like anybody on earth can white label it and then call it their own thing, and everybody knows that it's GHL, but nobody knows that it's this whole messy thing. We're easier to use than all of those. We're easier than ClickFunnels. We're easier than Go High Level, way easier than Kartra, which makes me want to claw my eyes out. As a technical person, Kartra makes me want to claw my eyes out. I'm name dropping all of our whatever. Kajabi, we're easier than them. We are, if Kajabi, ClickFunnels, and ActiveCampaign had a baby, and WordPress. If those 4 entities had a baby, it would be InfluencerSoft, but it would also be easier to use than all 4 of them. So there you go.
And I'm not sure which kind of rates that you're still offering or what kind of affiliate link I will have in the bottom, because I forgot to check that with you ahead of time. So for the actual InfluencerSoft, I didn't know which package you wanted to put in the comments down below.
Oh,
so about that.
So we have a package. Actually, we have an influencer package, which is our highest level package. And we currently have a super secret lifetime deal for that I'll let your audience have, which is $9.97, I think, for lifetime pricing. So you just pay it once, gets you full access to basically top tier everything. And that includes your hosting. So all you have to pay is the $20 a year or whatever it is for your domain. And everything else is taken care of inside InfluencerSoft, which is nice.
And you do need a professional email though. So you can't just use a Gmail email.
Yeah.
And that is to your benefit, because it creates less spam into your audience. So that's actually a good thing.
Absolutely.
And you can get that through your hosting or whatever you want to do. That's just the one other.
That's a little extra fee.
Yeah. I just want to make sure.
If you use Namecheap, it's only like $20 a year. Just a little pro tip. It's cheap.
And so, so go with some of these ideas. And I think actually I ended up going with Hostinger ended up getting a Black Friday deal on that. And so there's all kinds of, there are so many avenues out there, but I wanted to bring you one because I've been using it. And so if those of you listening to it, something that you want to do, there will be an affiliate link, meaning that doesn't cost you any extra than what she said, but I will get part of that. And we always say that as the closure in affiliate links and what they mean.
I love affiliate. You should all be affiliating for everything that you can.
Yes.
And you should be asking everyone to be affiliates for you as well. That's the secret.
Exactly, because they're still going to, companies create that buffer in there because it's cheaper for advertising. They're going to pay you directly because of the word of mouth. And that's what the affiliate really means, is they're paying you to bring people in. And they're charging the same price. It's just they give you a cut of the price they're already charging. And so that's where the affiliate beauty comes in. And again, those of you start out in businesses, all the products that you love, just like we're talking about the raving thing, you start promoting those products because you use them. Absolutely. And you can explain or answer questions and things on that. Absolutely. And then vice versa for your programs. You offer, instead of paying for advertisement to sell your courses, you now add in a buffer that you give directly to people who bring in clients to you. It's a win-win for everyone. Just think about how happy it is as we make the money flow for everyone. And that's the whole goal of what I want to do for moms, is let's raise the bar and get women supporting women and moms supporting moms and all of the above, so we can all raise the tides and create that economic destiny that we desire. The Dalai Lama prophesied in 2009 saying that Western women would save the world. And it's really by the economics. And it's really by supporting each other. We have the buying power, but what are we spending it on? Not necessarily each other. And so let's change that a little bit and grow ourselves in the process. Mm-hmm. So we're going to dive straight into, because we're running out of time, right into our 5 questions. Perfect. So number 1 for you, Sherisse, is share your favorite book or resource that has had a significant impact on your journey as a mama or entrepreneur. I'll throw that one out there too. However you want to take it.
Okay. It's actually, I have it on my shelf. Hang on one second. Let me grab it. Ooh. Okay. It is called The Power of Now It's an
Ooh.
oldie but a goodie. Now, I read this book the first time back when it first came out in like the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s somewhere. Didn't connect with it that I knew of. But it was kind of like, okay, this is a little weird, but okay. As I went further along in my life, I refound this book right around the time just before I got sick. And it resonated so much more with me in my 40s than it ever did in my 20s. I was like, oh, baby, this book. And now I reread it on a pretty regular basis, like almost once a year, because it is so incredibly empowering. It is all about the power of presence, the power of honoring who you are in this moment, and the ability of you and the people that you love to embody that this moment and this moment and this moment are the only moments you have to live through.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. It made a huge difference in my ability to parent.
It's true, like, really being in the present with them at that moment and not thinking about all the other things that you have to do. And the more that
Absolutely.
we can do that.
And then also my business, right? Because you can't worry about what you screwed up yesterday. You can't worry about what you're going to screw up tomorrow. It's just right this very second and the next second and the next second.
Yes. Now.
Wow.
Which leads us to number 2. What is a special family tradition or ritual that brings joy and connection to your household?
Food. Food is a big thing for us. We love to cook together. So we will, even if it's something really simple, like really simple spaghetti or, good old Kraft dinner mac and cheese or whatever it may be, we will do that together. And, while we're cooking, we'll have conversations, we'll share things that are going on in our days, and we will kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And I
Mm.
feel like that combination is really something that I will always, I'm getting a little teary about it, always cherish having with my son. So yeah, food.
I love that. And my son loves to cook too, so it is fun to be in the kitchen together. Yep.
Absolutely.
And number 3, I think we've talked about it a little bit, is I'm opening up that conversation. We always say that I'm so busy, or we ask someone, how are they doing? And our response as moms, I'm so busy, blah, blah, blah. Well, I know I call them out. I say, hey, busy moms, come join us. But I want to redefine that. So what is your take on either changing the question, changing the answer? People have gone both ways, leaving it open to you.
It's really, this is the answer to being that overwhelmed, frazzled, burnt out, horror stricken at where your life ended up, mom. And the other thing is, mine is now 18. He's my miracle baby, and he's 18. And I don't have many more years where he's going to be here. Cherish the most busy moments, because at some point, it'll just be you, maybe your spouse, rattling around in the house, staring at each other going, really? We just spent the last 20 some years not even having a minute to have a conversation, and now we have to stare at each other all the time.
Which actually is why I'm doing what I want to do, because we will be in that situation at some point. So we still can't forget about ourselves in this. So whatever that idea or whatever it is that you want, just find those pockets. And that's what this is all about in the Mama Genius Hub, is how do we as moms still do that, but be in the now with our kids and have that rhythm to our lives, rather than just say it's one way or the other. We don't want to necessarily be like, all of a sudden they're out of the house and like, what do I do with myself? We can't forget about ourselves in the process.
Absolutely. Now, the other piece to that, how to find time for that, is the same tools that I gave you guys for how to do that during a work thing, right? Like how to carve time for work. Ask your village, ask friends, family, babysitters, daycare, whatever. And even if you both have demanding jobs, whatever. If you both have a day off and it's a school day and the kids should be in daycare and you're like, oh, we could just send them to daycare anyways and have date day.
Yes.
Have like a naked day. Oh, did I say it out loud?
You did.
I did. When you were younger, you had that kind of fun, right? But you don't do that once you've got kids because you're like grown-ups. That's friggin' boring. That is the death killer for a relationship. Have fun. Surprise him every once in a while. Surprise her every once in a while if you're a dude. Like, just, and it doesn't have to be a sex thing, but it could be. But you really need to have that spontaneity and that you need to focus on each other first. And I think that that's something that the veterans and the silent generation and the boomers even weren't really good at. They tended to focus all their energy on their kids. And I see that even now with the X's and the generations that are coming after X, like really hyper focusing on their kids. Like their kids are never allowed out of their sight. Number one, that's unhealthy for kids. We were not raised that way. Sorry, but I was kicked out of the house at 7 a.m. and told to come back when the streetlights came back on. Like, no, that wasn't a thing, right? Like, there was no, you weren't even allowed in the house to go to the bathroom or get a drink or a snack or nothing. Like, no, doors are locked. Don't come in my house. But, so you want to make sure that you are spending time, just the two of you, that you are nurturing that relationship. That's all I got to say about that. Okay.
I love it. Leads us into number 4, which describes what does genius mean to you and how do you feel when you're in your genius zone?
Genius is, okay, now I'm going to get a little esoteric. You're going to understand why I have that guy here. Genius is our connection to the divine, our connection to the universe. That is when we are basically channeling the universe, channeling the divine, channeling your God, whatever you want to call it, Yahweh, whatever your name is for that energy field, you're channeling it. You aren't really in control at that point. You are simply like popping it through. That's your genius. And that's what it's going to feel like. Like you're not the one doing it. You're just like, wow, I'm letting the wheel and wow, look at it go. It's like a miracle.
And everything just happened so easily.
Absolutely.
Which leads us into how do you encourage children or your child to explore new skills and passions and live in their genius?
Oh, this one's interesting because I'm on the spectrum. Hi. My son's on the spectrum and he was very rigid. So encouraging him was really difficult. He did not want, the apple didn't fall far from the tree, although I was really open to trying new things, but he is not ever. So it's really just about inviting and then allowing them the space to say yes or no.
I love that.
Because if they don't feel like they have a choice, they're going to push back and they're going to say no. And they're going to like shove that energy, even if it's just energetically, they're going to shove it away energetically. And what you actually want is to be inviting, to be like, you know what? Let's just make this happen. It'll be fine. I promise. It won't be scary.
I love that. It's so true. Like it's that invitation, and it's not putting the things that we expect on them, but inviting and seeing where their genius is flowing to the things that they enjoy, and not they don't necessarily match with ours. And all our kids are just so different, and realizing that. Well, thank you so much for Sherry for coming on today. And there will be 2 affiliate links down below, one for the Business First Class program, and then one for Influencer Soft as well. And so if any of those, or if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments as well. And one of us will answer those. If those are things that sounded good to you or need more information, let us know. We're happy to answer those. And if you just want to give us one final tidbit before we say goodbye.
I do actually. Never stop learning.
Yes.
There you go. Never stop learning, ever. Always be curious.
And so, again, you want more with Sheree? Go to Sherisse. I keep saying Sheree. My other friend Sheree. Sherisse, go to the Influencer Soft first class business or learn more about joining Influencer Soft and have that as your first step to marketing.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you all next time on the Mama Genius Hub podcast. Bye, everyone.